Here he comes, a blazing star in the cinema firmament, top critic, of course, of Van Connor, also our expert guide to Freeview film recommendations for the weekend. And Van, good morning, matey. Interesting week cinematic-wise. Have you caught this new film, have you caught the Expendables 4 film? I think it's number 4 on there, isn't it? Have you caught that yet?
I have indeed. Well, I mean, I think if you go by the way they've titled it, which is Expend 4 BLES, we're calling it Expend 4 Balls. That's what we're calling it at this stage of time. And do you know what? It's a good romp. It's exactly what you expect of the fourth in that particular series.
Is it still the steak and still sliced alone? Is it still sliced? Excellent.
Of course
Excellent.
It is. This time with the added bonus of 50 Cent and Megan Fox. So we're really going for class. You know, it's very much my kind of film, if we're being honest.
Megan Fox, the Meryl Streep of her generation-ish. Anyway, let's go now to your first Freeview film recommendation. You've gone for one I know you've mentioned before, but it's a great fun film, a mad film, a great Friday night film, I think. Tell us what you've chosen first of all.
Tonight, BBC One at 10:40. And I think you might be thinking, when you talk about the fun, I think you're thinking of the sequels, because we wanted fun from the first, and it was very obviously a very different film. It's the first Magic Mike tonight. From,
maybe I've not seen the first one then.
Exactly that. The sequels are very fun. They've got an energy to them. But the first one is a really, it's directed by Steven Soderbergh. They all are.
I've not seen this one. I must confess, I've not seen this then. If Mr. Soderbergh.
The first one is very much what you describe as a Soderbergh film. It's very gritty. It's very raw. It's very everything sucks. And it's loosely based on Channing Tatum's real life experiences as an erotic dancer, we shall politely say, and trying to work his way up from just working McJobs and stripping in Miami to, basically graduating through this community, but achieving his dreams, all under the watchful gaze of a sort of manipulative showrunner, Dallas, I think he's called, played by Matthew McConaughey. But it had a bit of salation to it, a bit of TNA. And it had Channing Tatum, doing what he was very, very well trained for, as every bit of marketing for this described. But this is the gritty one where he sort of has the protege in Alex Pettyfer. So you can see this tonight on BBC One at 10:40. I've got a clip for you. Magic Mike, as personified by Channing Tatum.
Here we go then.
You're not just stripping. You are fulfilling every woman's wildest fantasies. All right? You are the husband that they never had. You are that dreamboat guy that never came along. You are the one-night stand, that free fling of a that they get to have tonight with you on stage and still go home to their hubby and not get in trouble because you, baby, you made it legal. You are the liberation. Own it.
Wow, I mean, that's a great rousing speech there from Matthew McConaughey. Interesting to hear somebody with a Texan drawl say hubby. Which I thought I'd be a British short for husband. Right? Hubby. He would be on the hubby you never had. So that's on tonight then on the Beeb. I've gone for a BBC 4 recommendation. It's kind of Hank Williams country music tonight on BBC 4. Friday night is music night for them. There's a rather good arena documentary about Hank Williams, who had a fantastically incandescently successful career. Died waging, I think he died New Year's Eve back in the day, 54 I think it was, on the way to get another gig. He had various aspects to his career. We may play one of the poems he wrote and recorded under the name Luke the Drifter. Elvis covered some, used to do his poems from stage, and they're what you might expect, but quite kind of profound, moving poems, but very much, almost greeting card styley. And his music is still being played today. It's transcended country music. I mean, Al Green covered things like, his mournful songs are just incredible. I'm So Lonesome I Could Die, Al Green covered that. So it's got soul, pre-rock and roll, it's got a rockabilly bounce, and the film, although quite old-fashioned, I quite enjoyed it from, I think it was 2015, I Saw the Lights, of course the title of one of Hank Williams' greatest almost gospel songs, and Tom Hiddleston, who wanted to be Loki in the Thor films, and also of course in the Avengers films and then the TV spin-off series, and was in that dreadful Kong Skull Island film. He does a very good Hank Williams. He looks like him because he was kind of gaunt, emaciated. He was addicted to uppers, Benzodrine, amphetamine and stuff, and alcohol. And he sings a mean old. He does the voice himself, and he's normally, I think, got a baritone voice. He was trained in school to sing a pretty good country and western tenor in this film. So when I saw it, it got some kind of slightly patronising reviews. It's not going to break new ground in cinema, but I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Did you like this when you saw it, Van?
I did as well. I mean, obviously it's no Walk the Line, I think, from a decade previous, but I mean, that's a very, very high benchmark. I do think, though, Hiddleston is absolutely brilliant in this. I also I really like, I think it's Elizabeth Olsen plays his on-screen, fellow Marvel alum Elizabeth Olsen, plays his on-screen wife in the film. But Hiddleston is absolutely brilliant in this role. He's a fantastic Hank Williams.
And with some great gear, of course, that fantastic. I think it's by a designer called Nudie, but it's probably clothed there. So there's the Arena documentary on Hank Williams at 10:30. Straight afterwards, 10 minutes to midnight tonight on BBC4, it's I Saw the Lights, and there's a country and western twang of the trailer.
Everybody has a little darkness in them. Now I'm talking about things like anger, sorrow, shame. I show it to them, and they don't have to take it home.
Just a taste of it there, of course. So we've got the documentary beforehand. You might see people scurrying back to to download or stream, whatever kids do these days, from Hank Williams. And your second recommendation, please, is another film I've not seen. Then tell us about Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of this one. So this was the first feature film follow-up from the team that gave us Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in 2018. So this came out in, I think it was 2021. So it's about 3 years later, which is about average for the amount of time they spend working on these films. And this was their first big follow-up, and it's more of a madcap, sort of National Lampoon's Griswold family style setup in which they have to save the world, but it's like animated in that very unique style, like Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, to a lesser extent, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem that we had recently as well. And this has got an all-star cast that includes Danny McBride, and Maya Rudolph, and Abby Jacobson. I think Olivia Colman's in there as well. And it's the story of this Griswold-like family who are driving to take the eldest daughter to college for her first day of college, and their trip happens to coincide with the robot apocalypse, in which you get Olivia Colman as well as a very sassy AI, it has to be said. This is absolutely brilliant. It's hilarious. It's heartfelt. It's as moving as it is funny at times. The voice cast are very warm. They're very fun. They're very engaging. But it's visually just extraordinary. And there's a whole, and if you're a big comedy fan like I am, there's loads of appearances from people like Conan O'Brien and stuff like that in there as well. So you probably appreciate this as well, Paul, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking for, you have mentioned it before and I didn't catch it the last time around. So remind us where we can see this again and what clip you've got for us.
So this is ITV2. This is at 2:35 on Saturday afternoon. And this is the family prepping to go to college, and the eldest daughter, Abby Jacobson's character, just kind of regretting her entire life, as you do.
Well, from Vance Presley, my money's on the Mitchells. Find out who wins tomorrow, of course, and it's his recommendation for Saturday.
The Posies are on vacation right now, and look how happy they are.
Family yoga break.
Why are you so obsessed with the Posies? They're just our neighbors.
They're just so perfect. I mean, even their dog is in better shape than ours. What are they feeding that thing? Other dogs?
Lynn, don't worry about them. Look at them. They're jealous of us. Right, Katie? I see you moping back there. But what at your college could possibly be better than this?
We set up a slip and slide in the dorms. It's amazing.
This is the best day of my life. I'm making lifelong bonds.
I'm missing everything.
So a nice teenage whingy voice there, of course. Now we've got, I've known Van Conner. He's saved shows of mine for years and years now. So we do talk when we're not talking on the radio. And I got a very excited message from him in the week saying it's happening at last. We've spoken about it before. We've wished it to happen. It's going to happen. Brightburn 2, that sequel to the kind of evil Superman film from 2019. And coincidentally, as we get that news, and I'll ask you to tell us a bit more what you've heard about that. Brightburn, the original, is on. It's on Film 4 tomorrow night, Saturday night. Again, 10 minutes to midnight. Absolutely cracking kind of horror science fiction superhero film. And basically a childless couple who've been praying and struggling, saving money, using, IVF treatment for a child. They find a child has hit planet Earth in a spaceship, and they raise him as you would, and they love him, and he's a lovable child and a charming child, except things change, and he starts to turn, and he discovers that as he approaches puberty, he's getting powers, he becomes almost invulnerable, strength, and he suddenly loses, as they say in the tabloids, his moral compass, and things take a turn for the dark, but the brilliant. It was written by Brian and Mark Gunn. I think they're cousins, and then Brian is the brother of James Gunn, who produced it, directed by David Urofsky. It's doing good business, this, but I've been praying for a sequel. Well, praying, other things going on in the world, but I've been really looking forward to a sequel. So what do we know about the sequel? It's definitely happening, is what we think.
All we know is it's finally going ahead, because there's a setup, there is a setup for potential other avenues to take the story after the events of Brightburn. Like we both described this as, dark Superman, effectively, and there is the established establishment, like quite late on in the game, that, you know, that dark template could be applied to other superheroes. It's quite obvious that James Gunn either was taking a shot at the DCEU or, you know, was and didn't realize, because it's very close to the bone as regards like what we had in the years surrounding this with like Superman and Batman under the sort of Zack Snyder tenure.
Yeah. And of course he did films like Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, Volume 3 as well, Suicide Squad he was involved in. So it's also got a real horror twist to it. There's some real jump scare moments in it. Once again, it's on 10 minutes to midnight, tomorrow night, Saturday night on Film 4. Again, there's a childless couple, desperate for a child, and suddenly the boy's asking questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? And how many people can I kill before the end of the film?
Mom, who am I? You are a gift. We believe that you came here for a reason. I know it's been difficult for you lately, that you feel different from other kids.
Touch the floor, Brian!
You are different.
Caitlin, get my hand up.
He's a creep.
Help him up.
What are you doing?
I want him in handcuffs and I want him gone. Do you even know who his real mother is?
I'm his real mother.
Let's go.
Maybe there is something wrong with Brandon.
Yeah, we need to talk about Brandon. I should put the bone crunching sequence occurs when a group of, I mean, why would kids bully that kid when you kind of think, if anything, I'd have been best friends with the most evil, superpowered kid in the world, would you not? Don't bully him. I mean, that's going to end badly for you and for your mum if you're not very careful indeed. And my final recommendation is a bit of a departure from our norm. Only 17 episodes were made, 26 were planned to be made, commissioned by Lou Grade. Patrick McGoohan conceived the series, and he also then directed some of the episodes, wrote some of the episodes, along with a man called David Tomblin, and also George Markstein was a spy author, a well-known writer. It was The Prisoner. I think the greatest TV show series of all time, science fiction style, the big daddy of all kinds of things that came afterwards, all those things that were open-ended, like Lost, of course, even like Prison Break to an extent, which owes a great debt to it. And basically, as I'm sure you know, McGoohan, who played Danger Man, known as Secret Agent in these States, John Drake, he goes in to resign in the opening titles, and he goes home to his lovely flat. He starts to pack, and suddenly he's gassed in his own flat. Undertakers take away his body, and he wakes up on a holiday island. Think Butlins, with gigantic killer rubber balloon things that hunt you down. He can't get away from the place. When he tries to, he's up against this kind of almost benign totalitarian estate. Very 1960s, very much kind of mini-mokes and people saying, be seeing you to each other. And a great cast of, everybody's got a number. He's number 6. Okay, and he got the title from 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The number 1, you don't find out who that might be until maybe you do, maybe you don't, the final episode, number 17. But the number 2s are played by a variety of people, the deputies. Patrick Cargill turns up. Big actors like Leo McKern, who was Ron Paul of the Bailey, is number 2 in at least 2, maybe 3 episodes, again, depending how you read into it. There's a spoof Western episode. There's fantastic episodes when Patrick McGoohan was away filming Ice Station Zebra, so they invented a script where he's basically, his brain is put in somebody else's body, so they could have an actor playing number 6 but looking nothing like him. It's very much of its time, shot on film, shot at Portmeirion up there in Wales, this wonderful fantasy Italianate village, and it is, to me, the acme of this type of television. It's the 60s, it's paranoia, it's Patrick McGoohan, punch-ups and gigantic killer balloons. What more could we ask, Van?
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you something, this is my ideal M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh.
Like, I wish M. Night Shyamalan would actually do the theatrical, feature film adaptation of The Prisoner. Like, if anyone's ever going to do it, and they will attempt to again at some point.
Because they made a terrible spin-off series. They made a reworking of it with Jim Caviezel and I think Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
And it was a misfire, really. This is, if you watch Horror Extra, Freeview channel 69, I think it's on Sky as well, Freeview, but it's a Freeview channel. This Sunday, 6, 7 and 8, the first 3 episodes, set your record. There are only 17 of them. If you don't like them, then, that's your prerogative. I think you'll be hooked almost from the first episode because it is an absolute melon twister. And I've got a little chunk of the first one. Of course, basically it's the opening. Each episode starts with him being gassed, waking up on this wonderful village. They call it the village. And he has the same exchange with the person, the actor who's playing number 2. It's always the same. And it's entered TV folklore. Where am I? In the village.
Where am I? In the village. What do you want? Information. Whose side are you on? That would be telling. We want information. 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 You won't get it. hook or by crook, we will. Who are you? The new number 2.
Who is number 1?
You are number 6.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
Great booming laugh there of Leo McKern at the end. I let the one run a bit long because that bit stuff with those. It was such a great opening title sequence. Music by Ron Gray in a fantastic mad science fiction series. So 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, the first 3 episodes on Horror Extra this Sunday, which is 69 on your Freeview. And finally from you, Mighty Van Connor, what have you got for us?
Do you know, I'm not going to lie, I was quoting along with that prisoner clip. That really got me.
When the first one's when Leo McKern turns up, everything's very clipped. And Leo McKern says to Patrick Williams, breakfast? And Patrick Williams says, why not? Eggs, 2. That's the script for this. Is fantastic staccato stuff. Sorry, your final recommendation, please, Van.
Sorry, I'll snap out of Fox Mulder mode. Sorry, it's Pokemon, but Detective Pikachu is on BBC One on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and I'm a big fan of this movie because I was talking to a few friends of mine earlier tonight, and they said, "So what you picked for Sunday?" I went, "Oh, and Detective Pikachu," and they're like, "Oh yeah, good." Like, why do you like that one? I'm like, because it's effectively Roger Rabbit with Pokemon. It's a live-action CG hybrid equivalent to, in the same way that Roger Rabbit melded real, sort of real-world noir detective kind of comedy hijinks with Looney Tunes style animation. This melds the same, but instead of 2D Looney Tunes animation, you get CG Pokemon that are meant to be like real, and it's absolutely bonkers. You get Ryan Reynolds as the voice of a particularly neurotic Pikachu, it has to be said. Justice Smith as his human sidekick, and they're off to solve the mystery of Justice Smith's father's murder, which may or may not involve a cadre of British actors that include Bill Nye, of all people. And Bill Nye in a Pokemon movie is just worth putting your butt down for 2 hours on its own, in my books. But I've got a clip for you. They say 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon on BBC One. This is a perfect one, kind of an all 4-quadrant whole family kind of affair. Like I say, very Roger Rabbit. So sort of look at it down that vibe, the sort of modern answer to that. But with Ryan Reynolds. Who doesn't love Ryan Reynolds?
Big spike in viewers then around Wrexham Way. Here we go then. What's happening in the clip then? What's going on?
So, sorry, in the clip. So this is Pikachu as voiced by Ryan Reynolds, bonding with his new human partner and trying to get information out of a would-be witness.
3 o'clock Sunday afternoon, BBC One. Here we go.
Hey, little guy. How did you get in here?
I know you can't understand me, but put down the stapler or I will electrocute you.
Did you just talk?
Whoa. Did you just understand me? Wait. That is heavy eye contact right there. You heard me.
No.
Yes, you did.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
You can understand me. I've been so lonely.
Be watching that in Wrexham this Sunday afternoon. And finally, remind us how we can catch off screen with you and your mate Adam, your brilliant podcast.
Yeah, you can hear us on podcast platforms from 8 a.m. today. And I'm very happy, to say that we get to talk about Expendables or Expendables, as you say, this week, along with Dumb Money, which I think is going to be quite popular this weekend as well.
Marvellous stuff there for Van Friday, mate. Van Connor, of course, with his Freeview film recommendations for the weekend. For the moment, though, that's a wrap. But we, my friends, are live till 5. Now, where did I put that remote?